welcome to your daily dose of body, mind, medicine. If you've been following me over on my personal page, I'm going to be doing more and more of it on my business page just to keep things nice and simple and easy to accept. So if you're not following me here, please do, because I pop in here often to give you daily doses of mindfulness, of alternative healing methods and insights and mind hacks to really help you to set yourself free. And, you know, let's face it, mindset has a huge influence on our body's ability to heal. And I was talking to a friend of mine over the weekend who, you may know him, Tom Palladino. He has invented a scalar waves technology that is healing many pathogens, hepatitis C. He's got a body chakra cleanse in there. So if you don't know him, check him out. But what we were talking about was this nocebo or placebo effect, and just how strong our minds are in either whether we heal or whether we continue to stay in a diseased state, which disease is just the opposite of easy. So I want to talk a little bit about how your mindset and your nervous system is involved in your ability to heal, because we all know that our thoughts and our attitudes and our past traumas actually affect us on a very biological and very biochemical level. And part of the healing that needs to take place is educating yourself, getting to know your body again. And it's very important, I think more important than ever, to really acknowledge the innate wisdom that your body has and recognize that mental and emotional health are part of the whole body healing system. And I think that healing has to happen on the spiritual level, because we are spiritually embodied, right? We're souls and bodies, and we need to learn how to work with the innate intelligence of our body. And when I say trauma, I'm not referring to physical injuries or accidents here, although those are traumatic. I'm talking about the deep emotional wounds or the painful experiences that we're all holding on to in the body. And oftentimes that's very subconscious. Situations that scarred us as children, the shock and trauma of witnessing an act of violence, death of a family, incarceration of a family member, sexual abuse, and as I said, death of a family member where you have lost a loved one, perhaps when you're pre-verbal, and you don't know where that person went, or you have a failed relationship that can really fester, harming your mental, emotional, and physical states all at once. So just know that any kind of shock and trauma system, it puts you into a freeze state. Especially when you're small, you know, when you're little. If you study the ACEs, and you can take the ACE test over on my website, Access Your True Nature, find out how high your ACEs are. Because when you're a child and you cannot fight back and you cannot flee, the only alternative you have on your nervous system is to shut down, to go into a freeze state where you just numb down, and then you don't have to feel that kind of pain or trauma again. It's a very old and ancient part of the reptilian brain that has kept us alive for years and years and years. So if you're listening to this and you feel like you can't connect to others, or you can't connect, you just feel numb, there's just no feeling there. Maybe no matter what you do or what you've tried, you just can't seem to get yourself out of the space of total ambivalent or avoidant attachment, which again is a coping mechanism of trauma. And I say this over and over again, hurt people. And it's not necessarily intentional, because we don't know how deeply embedded these old trauma systems and programs are running. But when you can't connect to yourself, does it make sense that you can't connect with empathy with others? And that's really where we're looking at this, either this epidemic of loneliness, or people that are simmering and they don't know why they're feeling this way, and they don't feel connected and they can't get help, and then they go and they, you know, the mass shootings that you see happening and all these crazy things that are happening around the world with individuals. And let's face it, you know, most of us have been traumatized in one way or another throughout our lives, and many of us also in that trauma are re-traumatizing ourselves because we're carrying around a lot of toxic beliefs and thoughts and feelings and emotions that might have been true in the event, but they're not necessarily true now. And oftentimes, what comes up in my sessions with clients is they don't even know why they feel the way that they feel. And that's a lot of the time has to do with early developmental or intergenerational trauma or in utero trauma, which are all happening pre-verbal. When you don't have the cognition, you don't have the capacity, the brain capacity to make meaning of it. And that's why you don't remember the trauma. But the good news is you don't have to relive the trauma in order to heal from it. And you'll know if you've ever wondered why. As I said, you just can't connect with people. You have an aversion to crowded spaces or loud noises or bright lights, or why your fingers and your toes are numb or cold all the time. This may be the effect of early warning signs that unresolved trauma from your childhood or before that is about to get triggered on the epigenetic markers and put you into a full-blown healing crisis. And this is often why with the adverse childhood experiences, if you don't resolve the traumas because you don't even know that they're there, you know, even things like surgeries and anesthesia, being born premature and having to be put in an incubator where you didn't have the physical touch and attachment of your mother, or maybe you had a near-death experience where you were in utero and you had the cord around your neck. I've had a couple of clients that have had chronic asthma or respiratory infections or bouts of recurring pneumonia. And when we've gone in on the epigenetic markers back along the ancestral line or the intergenerational lines, there's been somebody there that was strangled, or somebody that was poisoned in the gas chambers during the Second World War, or in the case of many, they've had the cord around their neck and literally had the life breath sucked out of them. They literally have experienced a petit mort, a little death, before perhaps the cord was loosened in utero. So there's so many ways that we're traumatized in our past, but also we're traumatized every single day by the things that we see on social media, of things that are happening in the workplace. If you're perhaps in narcissistic and codependent relationships, or living with people that are physically or verbally or mentally abusive. So if any of that happened to you before you could language what it was that you were feeling, or that you could express that on a somatic body level, or what we call, you know, the physiological or neurobiological level, even if you're too little to know what's going on, your body is feeling it. And when it doesn't get processed in a healthy way, it literally gets held in your tissues. The liver actually is the general of the body, and he decides what to do with all the stuff that has not been taken care of and resolved and integrated and released through the normal body functions. So if you were a child and you weren't able to fight or flight or flee, does it make sense that you're staying trapped in what we call procedural or implicit memory? And it can lie dormant for decades before an event triggers that old unresolved trauma. And then there's all the stories that you do remember about things that have happened to you, or perhaps you have no recall of it other than people telling you that this did happen to you. And we all know those deep, dark, shadowy feelings that we have about ourselves, and the stories of why we're not good enough and never will be, and why we never get the relationships that we want, or we can never get ahead in our finances, or things just don't seem to work out for us and we don't know why. There's a lot in healing from this by working with the epigenetic markers. And I think what I want to say again today in this whole placebo and nocebo effect, where literally your body follows your mind, is that when we're scaring ourselves sick like that, by all the thoughts and the feelings and the emotions, they're very, very dangerous to your health. As I said, you can have triggers that put you into a space of high anxiety or panic attacks or depression, or even worse, you start to all of a sudden have breast cancer, or you start to have irritable bowel syndrome, or you have chronic fatigue or fibromyalgia, or any of these other autoimmune diseases. Are often the body signaling that there's something that needs to be addressed and integrated into the body. And when I work with my private clients through this process of mindfulness, we change those old toxic stories and attitudes and beliefs, including how you constantly are scaring yourself sick with all the imagined ways of worst case scenarios that could happen in the near future, that are taking you out of being present to create your life, because either you're living in the past or you're living in the future. So if you have unresolved childhood trauma, or you think that there's something there, that it doesn't matter what happens, you've had all the blood tests, you've done, you've been to a million different practitioners and everybody's telling you you're healthy, and because your body's telling you something is out of balance, something needs to be addressed, please keep asking questions. Find a practitioner that understands how to work with the neurophysiology and the nervous system, with the enteric gut. The second brain is in the gut, and most disease starts in the gut because we're unable to digest, we're unable to process this toxic emotion or these thoughts in a healthy way. This is why when we're in fight, flight, freeze, when we're in a hyper-aroused state and we can't fight and we can't flee, the first thing that shuts down is the non-essential organs like digestion. And that's that freeze state the body gets stuck in. And through the work, we start to unfreeze these parts of you so that you can really start to feel your body again. So many people don't even feel their body. They don't even feel pain in their body anymore, because it's so deeply repressed in the body systems. So it does. The issues really do get stuck in your tissues. So if the body believes that it's going to die, it goes into that automatic shutdown, which is why we need to go to those places in the body and find the point of creation that you created the belief. Remember, the body follows the mind, that made you actually create the disease, right? It's just like that's how powerful you are in the mind. So when we practice mindfulness and we start to reconnect to the physical body, we start to thaw out those body parts through the somatic experience of conscious breath work, of somatic exercises, and we do it very, very slowly. We have to go at the pace of the body, otherwise we go into the old trauma patterns again. So just know that there is hope. It's incredible how much power, as I said, the mind has over the physical body. And I've personally worked through the muck of a myriad of toxic beliefs, as scary as that they can be. And I've gained a really deep new sense of joy and freedom, not only in my own life, but in healing my body from some of the wonderfully, incredibly creative ways that I tried to shut myself down, or my body tried to get me out of my head and back into my body by creating 2 beautiful brain tumors at the back of my brain stem, which were inoperable. So, the body will give you what you want. The body will always make you right. So an important part of your education is to train your brain to work for your body. Employ the brain to be the humble servant of what your body is asking of it. And that does require, doing the shadow work, digging deep into your emotional scars, and doing the mental dialogue through the talking, right? The talking part of that engages the brain. It gives the brain something to do. And then you can start to produce incredibly dramatic results and changes in your life, especially when it comes to healing the body. So just for today and just for this week, if you didn't listen to the weekly spiritual forecast from animals, the message really was that this is the week of deep rest. So many times we say we're depressed when actually it's our body asking us to slow down and take some deep rest, to practice good sleep, right? Good sleep hygiene is vital for your body to be able to heal. It has to go into that deep healing REM state, that deep theta state. So if you're restless and you're tossing and turning all night because you have unprocessed grief or unprocessed emotions trapped in your body, your liver is going to keep you awake. So if you're one of those people that wake up between 1 and 3, which is the peak of liver time, listen in and just see if you can start to create a healthy mindset and start to be really optimistic. Optimists live a lot longer than people that are not optimistic, because they're in that place of possibility where they're saying, if there is no SIBO or no placebo effect, all there is that I have the power to heal my body through what I am thinking, what I think I become. So create a really healthy mindset. And you want to say positive, because there is no negative or positive, right? There's just being under or over in the pathological state of imbalance. And we're not looking for balance, we're looking for peacefulness. So that little peace of mind can start to come when you start to look for physical evidence that supports your belief, which is my body has the ability to heal. I am an infinite creator of abundance. When you start talking about that and looking for that, you're going to get the signs that are going to really endorse and support you in looking for more of what you want rather than more of what you don't want. And this is where you hear about spontaneous healings. This is the power that the mind has, and it's so valuable for people to have somebody in their support team, whether that's a physician or an alternative healer or a mentor or a guide. Find people that are going to cheer you on and celebrate your successes and show you, hold the vision with you. Because that can be seen in the placebo effect. And though it often is dismissed, I know it works because it worked in my own life and it's worked in many, many of my clients' lives. And just know, I think the placebo effect may be probably the most well-known example of mindset at work. When they give one clinical trial group the real deal, drug or whatever it is, and then they give the other people a placebo, but they don't know whether they've got the thing that's real or the thing that's make-believe, that's just the sugar pill. And it's incredible from those clinical trials how many people in the placebo groups actually get physical changes in their body because they're believing that whatever they're taking is going to help them. So, it's the same thing. Anytime you believe healing is possible, your body gets the message and it gets to work. So you want to be cheering your body on. You need to trust that your body has what it needs to heal. Everything within you came in with the divine blueprint. Everything inside of you is there to create a beautiful life. That's your birthright. You were born to love your life and to thrive, not to stay in the survival mechanisms of unrepressed trauma, unresolved trauma. And this is what I teach in the Out of the Blues program. It's a really robust, a very integrated, holistic approach where you're going to not only educate yourself and learn how your nervous system is wired and learn your physiology, but you're going to learn how to trust your body through it so that you can reset your nervous system and detox your liver when it's time to detox your liver, or heal your gut. But there's through the process of the guides and the checklists and the work that we do together in that program, it isn't a one size fits all, right? It's you learning to be your own medicine, and it's about you writing your own prescription because you're working with your body. And I've seen so much damage be done when people are really trying to get healthy, where someone will say, you know, you do a detox on your liver and your liver is so exhausted that it's just more, you know, it's more inflammation. It's more work for the liver to do when it's absolutely exhausted. So in that case, you need to actually build up the vital life force energy in the kidneys sometimes before. Sometimes you need to start in the stomach and treat your gut first. And when you do, surprise, surprise, the brain fog disappears and you start to feel better because you're getting all that good serotonin and dopamine up to your brain. And even though the brain does make its own serotonin, it doesn't cross the blood-brain barrier. So a lot of the serotonin that creates the joy of living is coming from the gut, and you can't do that if you've got an overgrowth of unhealthy microbes in there that are playing havoc with your system. So I teach you a lot of ways to address this in the Out of the Blues program, from lifestyle changes to detoxes to mindfulness to meditation, and above all, some very, very effective somatic body release tools and breath work that you can use so that you can really take this deep dive into trauma physiology and toxic beliefs and mindset and the power of the body-mind connection, and be the director of your own life. You know, be your own medicine, be your own healer, because you know that you can be, and your body knows what to do. It's there to support you. So you truly will learn how to be your own medicine as you move along. Each of the training modules applying each of the 5 essential cornerstones to achieving wellness. It's all in there, including you know, guided exercises, as I said, vagal tone exercises, everything that you may possibly need from here until the end of your life, which, if you do this, will be vital and healthy and long, if that's what you're choosing, because you're going to be able to address on the drop of a hat. The minute your body starts to give you a red flag, you're going to be able to go back into this program, because you have learned, because you've trained your brain to know, okay, where is this toxicity coming from? Is it an environmental toxin? Is it an internal belief system? What's causing the inflammation? What's causing your immune system to go on high alert? And look at that in a way that you really start to reconnect the heart-brain in a healthy way, and then support that through lifestyle changes like good hydration and good nutrition, you know, eating live, healthy food and breathing properly and all those good things. So if that's something that interests you, I'll post the link below. You can have a look at that. And if you have any questions, comments, insights into this information, let me know if it was helpful. Let me know what else you'd like to know about healing your body from trauma and returning to trust naturally and going at the pace of your body. And above all, know you have the power of choice to change anything that is going on with you in your body, in your mind, in your business, in your family, and in your relationships with other people. And it all begins with trust. Right? Trust, which is the instigator for the placebo effect. And I'd love to know, you know, what's your insight on the power of the mind to heal the body? I'd love to hear that. And as always, if you know anyone that might want to that could benefit from this, please like it, share it, comment, and let's really come together in a very supportive way to be the change that we want to see in the world. And I will meet you there. All right, take care. Bye-bye.